Flexibility is critical when learning headspin. The wider your legs, the easier it is to balance. Getting flexible is like getting stronger. You have to be consistent. Using a stopwatch ensures that you are holding the stretches for the minimum amount of time, eliminating the tendency to cut the stretch short when it becomes uncomfortable. In time, your flexibility will progress, and if you are consistent, you can achieve full splits in about 6 months. This stretching routine I am showing you should not be done if your leg muscles are sore. The soreness needs to be gone before executing these stretches. This stretching routine can be done 1 to 3 times a week. Since this flexibility training can cause muscle soreness, your body will need time to recover before stretching again. In order to do the splits, you have to be strong enough. So first we'll work on our static strength, meaning we will hold various positions for a minimum of 30 seconds. When it gets easy, you can go lower. The first is the sumo squat. Make sure your feet are pointed out and your legs are bent about 90 degrees. Try to have your hips at the same height as your knees and hold for 30 seconds. Execute the deep squat in the exact same way as the sumo squat, except now your feet are facing forward. As you improve, you can spread your legs wider apart, lowering yourself. If you are under 12, you can perform the side and front split with your hands on the ground for support. For adults, your hands can be used for balance only. We will do this stretch twice, the first time for 30 seconds and the second time for 60 seconds. Using only socks on your feet, go as low as you can control. If you fall, you went too low. It is not apparent, but while I am stretching, I am alternating between tensing my legs and relaxing them. This strengthens your inner thighs, and when they become stronger, you will be more flexible, allowing you to go lower in your splits. The deep lunge or front lunge is to prepare your muscles for front split. Like the sumo and deep squat, the lunge is to be held for 30 seconds. Pay attention to the rear leg and make sure it is straight. Your front leg bends about 90 degrees. Do not let your knee go in front of your foot. Your front leg should be square. The execution of the front split is the same as the side split. Pay attention to where your rear foot is pointing towards. Your chest and both your feet should point forward. It is common for people to turn their rear foot outward to go lower. This is not incorrect, but here we are emphasizing stretching the hamstrings as much as possible. In the beginning, when you're high off the ground, it is difficult to balance. Therefore, have something to balance off of nearby until you are flexible enough to be low to the ground. Your rear leg will have a tendency to bend. Focus on tensing your rear quadricep muscles to prevent any bending. I have placed knee pads on my feet to increase slipperiness and for comfort. Start slow and be consistent, and your muscles will gradually cooperate and become more flexible. This is not required, but it can aid in making your regular front split easier. Perform the stretch exactly like the front split, except your front foot is now elevated. Likewise, for side splits, you can perform it on chairs. Pay attention to my feet. When I performed this on the ground, my feet were knife-edged and facing forward. Now they are facing up. You need to be able to perform splits both ways. The piriformis muscles are located around your hip and allow your leg to rotate. We stretch it to enable us to put our foot behind our head. Although not needed for headspins, this is part of my normal stretching routine for breakdancing and will be beneficial for breakdancing in general. The first stretch is performed by grabbing your knee and pulling it towards your chest while sticking your chest out. If you feel a narrow band of muscles around your hip being stretched, you know you are performing the stretch properly. It can be difficult to get your leg behind your head. Therefore, try some of these easier stretches first. Ensure that your leg is bent about 90 degrees and adjust as required until you feel a stretch in the piriformis muscles. As your foot gets closer to your head, it is time to grab your foot and pull it towards your head. At this point, you will once again time yourself and hold the stretch for 1 minute. True mastery of the stretch will allow you to hold some incredible poses and allow you to dance in new ways. B-Boy Benji, shown here, is an example of what you can do based on this flexibility. Find yourself struggling with the splits and you think your muscles are weak, perform the following exercises for additional strength to improve your flexibility. Wearing something on your feet that allows you to slide on the floor, slowly lower yourself, then squeeze your legs back together to raise yourself. It is okay if you cheat with your hands when raising yourself, but do not assist your legs going down. When you can raise yourself from a split, you have mastered these exercises. 10 to 20 repetitions is recommended for best results. Another way of training for the splits is to grab your foot and provide resistance with your arm. This is an intermediate stretch because you have to be able to touch your toes. If you can't grab your toes, Use a rope hooked around your foot. Resist for about 10 seconds, then relax the muscle. Perform at least 3 repetitions. Just like how you have a weekly strength routine to get stronger, you need a weekly stretching routine to become more flexible. Flexibility is very important. The more flexible you are, the more dynamic breakdancer you can become. All power moves require flexibility. If you have your splits, you can perform the move better and with less chance of injury.